We call the meeting to order of the Walpole Sewer and Water Commission, the date being Monday, January 22nd, 2024, 6:30 PM at the E.J. Delaney Treatment Plant. We're dealing with a posted agenda. And the first item is minutes. Thank you for that, Steve. So we have minutes from January 8th. If you've had a chance to peruse those at all.
I did, and I couldn't find anything. How about you?
I watched, but I'd have to abstain. I wasn't.
That's right.
I did watch.
Yeah, you didn't fall asleep?
No.
Oh, it's the best way to, if you haven't saw.
No, I can tell you the limitations, though, is that when Leah would come up and you go, she's pointing, you don't have a clue as where it's
Well,
pointing. And
You know, I'm listening to what the people are hearing at home, and a lot of the stuff, if I don't hear it in this ear, they're not hearing it on the TV. And like, for instance, I had to tell the guy, turn the thing so the camera could see it, because he's talking to it. And it makes no sense unless they can see it. But anyway.
Okay, so on the minutes, everyone seems to be good. I would just, not edit in any way, but just repeat for purposes of clarity, the last sentence on the discussion of Weston and Sampson. Mr. Hasniger states that he would like to make Mylite the #1 choice. Ms. Stanton comments that someone's going to put an X on the map where the pumping station is going on Marlite Street, and we will list the surveyor and proceed. She continues, we will do our due diligence. We'll reach out to Santec, and Mr. Mattson will reach out to Norwood to notify them we're moving forward on Mylite Street. Just want to repeat that just so we know that's in the minutes. So I'd say with minutes are accepted. We have a motion.
I make motion to pass the meeting minutes of January 8th.
Okay, move second. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 400.
abstain,
301.
301.
Okay, we have a superintendent's status report. The appointment for 6:45 was canceled.
Okay. So since our last meeting, on January 16th, we had a water leak. It was a main break on West Pine Drive at Kyle Road with a circle crack in the 8-inch water main. No other leaks. MTU report, we're right at the point of starting to bill cycle 7, 8, and 9, which is usage from October 30th to January 28th. About 31 accounts in each one of these cycles has an issue with reads. We're working on swapping out meters and MTUs as we can.
Is this due to the weather, or is it like they're just aging?
I think it's just the aging. I don't think it's weather dependent.
It's somewhere close to 5% of the meters in these cycles that we're not reading, which I find is
It's a lot.
terrible.
Right. The cleaning and redevelopment of the wells, that bid has been awarded to DLMR Incorporated, which is a division of Weston and Sampson. Specifications were requested, I know, from Commissioner Fasenello, and those will be available by email because it's a quite thick document. Jarvis Farm, the surveyor is currently working on identifying the conservation restriction areas and anything that would impact the location of the parking lot. The cold water meter bid,
Excuse me, what does that mean, they're working on it?
they're gathering all the information they can provided by the town and what they can research on their own to identify exactly where the protected area is, where the parking
Before
lot is.
surveying?
This is a surveyor that's doing this, yes.
Yeah, I said
Correct.
before he surveyed.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cold water meter bid that was awarded to Stiles Incorporated. Those specifications are also available by email if desired.
What are the cold water meters?
The water meters that we put out to bid, this round we used ARPA funding, and we're going with a different style meter. They're ultrasonic. There's no moving parts. So it's a more modern technology.
Scott, why are these contracts being awarded without us having any input?
Well, this,
This is after the fact. I don't want to know after the fact that you awarded Weston Sampson these specs or the cold water meter bid to the Stiles Company. We're supposed to have transparency. People are supposed to see these contracts discussed on the TV.
So, depending-
This is not acceptable that we get, it's a fait accompli, and that's not the way it should be. We should have input into what, like for instance, on this, on Stiles. Where's Stiles located?
they're in Norwood.
Pleasant Street.
Okay, and why did you pick them?
They met the specifications that were put out.
Nobody else did?
No, there were two bidders, and actually they were both out of Norwood. And the other one specified a meter that did not meet specs.
Okay. We don't know any of that if I hadn't asked you. We need to see what's going on.
I
It's
believe
a matter
in,
of transparency for the public and for us to know what's going on here.
I understand what you're saying, but I believe in your packet, you'll see that there were two bidders, and then one didn't meet specs, and one did.
Yeah, the specs are fine, but we need to, when they bid for a contract, they send you a proposal, don't they?
No.
What do they send you?
So you're confusing an RFP with a request for a bid. So if we're doing something like building a water treatment plant.
How is it
pump
different
station,
from an RFP?
It's different because you set the specifications, what you want as far as a water meter.
And you
What
don't, you didn't set any specifications? You said just give us X amount. How many are
No.
we getting? How many meters do we get?
I believe it depends on the size. There's, I believe, roughly 1,000 of the
1,000
5/8,
three-quarter?
and then a couple hundred 3/4, and then like 10 or 20 1-inch
And what are they made out of?
bronze.
They're bronze. And, okay, so these are are they compatible with the old ones we have?
Yes,
And again, we don't know this, you see.
it's in the specifications.
Yeah, but we didn't have the specifications. They're coming later.
No.
They're also
And I'm
available.
sure the other commissioners have questions about these meters too.
Under the procurement rules, if you say, I want, an example of meters, I want a meter that meets this spec, color orange, whatever, you put it out there and then companies can bid. And if you look down, match what they say, yes, we can do all those things, and if say, no, mine's only blue, they're not responsive, and their bid has to be thrown out. And in this case, it seems that Stiles met the specs, and the other company, for whatever reason, was non-responsive.
Why are you telling me this,
Which is different
though?
than a request for proposals,
Why are you telling me this?
because it seems like you're mixing the two.
No, I don't, because the thing is, there's things besides color.
No.
You picked out the most innocuous thing you could think of.
Well,
But there's other things that are very important. Like, for instance, what temperature can this take?
Those would be the things that you would specify. I just picked color because rather than saying,
The point is that the public should have an opportunity to hear what's going on. And if they don't have that, then we're not doing our job.
They do because it goes out to combis, which is available to anybody to see, and it's out there for 2 weeks.
which is different than a request for proposal, where we do want to see them come here to tell us how they would address the issue.
It's also posted on the website too.
We need to see what they see. Whatever the town administration sees, they're the bureaucrats. We need to see what's going on.
I think what we could do
Because it's a matter
is-
of public transparency.
What I would suggest is, when we're putting out a bid, as Steve has mentioned, they're publicly available, can we just have the specifications that we put out for bid in our packet?
Sure.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
in the Hometown Weekly, the ads, they don't give the specs in there.
No, just that are available.
You just say, yeah.
And the
You
date
say
you have
they're
to have
available
them
where
back
you
by.
gave an acronym, RF?
Combis.
Yeah, it's on Combis. They can get it through the purchasing department as well.
And the people who are submitting these should have the copies for the commission. You shouldn't have to make copies and give them to us. So if they want to bid on something, they should provide copies for the commission.
I'm not sure you can do that because you're not supposed to open, when the bid date, you have to be
No,
there.
wait, it's-
Then they open
Right.
the bids at
It's a
that
sealed
point.
bid.
And it's all locked in at that point.
It's a
We are
sealed
asking
bid.
for the specification which is put for
Well,
the
that's what
bid.
I'm suggesting, that if we're putting out bid, that could be included in our package because it goes out and is a month's worth of, they have a time length deadline that they have to have, by 5 o'clock it has to be in
No, no,
and
what
things
is-
get stamped and all that sort of
No,
stuff.
specification has to be posted on Combis, as
Right,
he said.
right.
That is a public information.
That's
What-
why I'm suggesting that we include it in our package. So
Yeah.
we don't have to go to this other site.
Yeah, that's good.
And if these companies want to, a contract, they want to be accepted, they can come before us and talk to us if they want to present their proposal,
If the
Well,
bids are
they're not-
a significant amount of money.
which they used to do.
Well,
But you can seem to have forgotten that.
No, but you can't have them come in and then say, oh, that's nice that you offer that feature. We'd like that feature. It's too late. Once you get the bid, you can't change it. Everybody's got to play.
What do you think I'm talking about?
Because,
I don't want that to happen. I want us to know
so you
what's
want it
going to happen.
before we
What they're
put the
going to
bid.
say. They don't, this is before they win the bid.
No, before the bid goes out. Once it goes out, you can't
Right.
change anything.
These aren't private bids. They submit their proposal.
No, not on something where you say, this is what I want, and you describe it. It's got to meet the AWW, A specs for this. It's, and you go on, you list the whole thing, and you can't change it without throwing all the bids out.
But
But we
he's
can
not
see it
saying that,
before.
Bill. What he's saying is, he wants to know it before the decision's made. Because if the bids don't meet something that is deemed important, they throw them all out.
And that's done, you don't even have a
But he
choice.
doesn't have a choice on that if he doesn't know what,
I
It's in there.
participated
I
when
don't
we
know
had...
why you want to hide this from the public. That's what I
I'm
don't
not
understand.
suggesting that. If we
I don't understand that at
want
all.
to bid, we can include it in our package so that we know exactly what everybody is supposed to do. Now, if you want to see it before it goes out, so you can look at the thing and say, oh, I'd like this requirement to be added, as long as it doesn't make it so that only one company can meet your bid, then we could do that. But once the bid goes out, request, they have to meet those if they want to be considered.
Anybody can request the bid results, and it happens all the time, usually by the people that were not awarded the bid. They'll make the request for the bid tabulation, want to know who won. There's total transparency.
okay? All right, do you have anything else, Scott? Go ahead.
The last thing, Morningside Drive is on track, same as the last meeting. They have a mobilization date starting tomorrow, and the pumps are still on schedule for a January 25th delivery, so this week. Other than that, all the routine tests and maintenance.
What does that mean in the mobilization there? What's going to happen?
They're going to be on site, they're going to get everything prepped, they're going to start getting everything going to start work, preparing the site.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Scott. Okay. We have comments, requests, plans are being made available for review. The first one is the League School of Boston.
Okay, do we have
Request is
plans?
from the planning board.
We have plans in place?
We don't have them on the screen?
I can't see this.
They should be on the screen as well.
These are revised plans for review. Please forward comments before January 17th.
Yeah, that date has passed.
Yeah, I know.
The big question here is, What are they concerned about vis-à-vis the Stormwater Commission?
They're concerned that you have the opportunity to make comments after looking at the plans,
Because they have connection to sewer underneath Route 1.
right?
Yeah, they have water. Okay, we don't do drainage, so it's not in an aquifer.
Right. It's just an opportunity to give you a chance to comment.
Okay. We'll see this.
When you say they have a connection on the other side of Moose Hill Road,
There's an existing connection.
yeah, not on the side they're developing.
It is on the side they're developing, it goes under Route 1. They already have a property on one side of Moose Hill Ave. They're developing the one across from Moose Hill. They're still on the same side of Route 1.
That's not what I'm saying. The connection is under Route 1, is on their original property.
Yes,
And they're proposing an additional property that's south of them on Route 1, on the other side of Moose Hill Road, which is not connected. So
Right.
they're gonna have to connect that property through Moose Hill Road to their existing system.
right.
Right. Pradeep, you want to look at this?
No, I think maybe.
Oh, okay.
Steve, you have any comments on this?
No, it's pretty straightforward. They're an 8x6 over, the fourth main going corner of Moose Hill. Route 1.
Okay, anyone else? So we'll respond seen and noted, or? Is that all right?
Make the motion that we send a letter to the planning board that we're read and noted. We have no additional comments. I believe we made comments earlier,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, 400. Okay, the second one is the SM LaRusso, 241 Norfolk Street. This is a memo from the planning board, please review and comment.
They call it a contractor's warehouse, and there's a couple of them in this area. Basically, they have a garage, it's even like the one at the end of Oak Street and South Street, where they just have a building with garage doors, and that's what I think he's going to build. There's already a few of them in this particular area. That would be my interpretation on when it says it's a contractor's warehouse, unless somebody's aware of the thing. It's right behind the dog kennel. It's actually on Norfolk Street, it's to the right of it. If you look at West Street, it's to the left of it.
We have a map,
Yeah.
I believe.
But there's a number of these warehouse-type buildings on Norfolk Street and West Street in that area.
Yeah, I'd like to see the map. They have one already he built across the street from the sand pit.
Right.
And there's tenants.
Yeah, it's that type of, I believe it's that type, but it'd be interesting to see. Do we have that in, Steve?
No, I checked. It's not on phone number.
No.
Well, I'd like to just take a look, because I suspect it's like
You
the...
want to see this? I'll pass it
No,
down.
no,
This
it's
is
the dog
in-
kennel.
All right. Our water, our aquifers are over here, so.
Yeah, and we are in Area 3. It's Norfolk Street. Renmar Road comes off over here. The sand pits are...
Here's Renmar.
Yeah. This is where Rolls Royce is down here on Washington Street. There's a warehouse, LaRusso's garage is like here, where they have all their trucks. It's an older building, but this is vacant. It's just,
Well, how about on this map, Bill? If you're looking
right
at
here. It's right here. Here is the dog kennel right there, and it's this lot. Here's the Assured Collision, there's their area. Yeah.
He's on the corner or over here?
No, his is right at the corner. Here's West Street, here's Norfolk Street, West Street.
All right.
That's the kennel. This is just wooded and scrub. And LaRusso, this right here is where LaRusso has all his
Yeah.
trucks.
But where are they building a new building? Because there's already a dog
No,
kennel
right here.
On the
This-
top of the dog kennel?
No, it's like this is.
Yeah, this
you can
one
see.
shows it better.
It's actually gonna be, the building will be right here, but the driveway will go around. This
Oh,
is
so
the
he's
dog
going
kennel.
around the dog kennel.
Yeah, the dog kennel's right here, and that's town property, but the other,
I know.
he apparently owns this, so I think this is a thing, a masonry operation is in this building right here.
Okay, the big question here is, what's going to be stored in the warehouse?
Well, I would like to see, do they show like a diagram of, like, because the other places that are around here, you would see like garage doors,
Maybe there's a picture.
yeah. Well, the only thing I would say is that they would have to comply with the aquifer overlay, which would say you're in Area 3, a commercial, no more, you got to identify what's going to be in. The thing with these, it's a proposed warehouse, he's going to build it, and I don't think they know or could tell us who's going to be there.
Yeah, but the thing is, what are they storing?
You won't know until,
Yeah, but that's not good.
no, well, at that point, then you have to go through the normal procedure
Yeah.
of zoning and the...
And this is right near the wetlands.
There's wetlands, yeah, right in this area. There's a house right here, and this is sort of
It's-
wetlands, and the Rolls-Royce plant is,
It's within so many feet of the wetlands.
oh, yeah. I don't,
So that's my concern is who knows what they're putting there?
I would be interested to know, but I suspect it's on these contractors' warehouses where they have a long building with garage doors, they don't know.
But after the fact, he brings up a good point.
Yeah,
The owner develops the property,
right.
then he subleases later after he's been all permitted and
Yeah.
approved. And the people who go in the individual units could be doing anything. They could be creating marijuana, doing
Yeah.
wine. We have a
Well, how does that-
California wine
Commissioner
company.
Mishra, want to take a look at this?
I'm thinking the one that's opposite the LaRusso sand pit, operation there. There's a number of different contractors, a painter, there's a landscaping guy in that, and we've never,
Yeah, but see, what he's getting at, you know what he's getting at.
No,
the
I
list of
understand.
Items that aren't supposed to be in the Aquifer District. He's wondering,
Well-
how does that get the flag go up to check that?
I
Once
agree.
there's an occupancy, that's that's
Well, when
Patrick's.
when you get the, once you've developed it, and then 5 years from now, the landscaper goes out and a painter wants to move in, who tells them? I don't know the answer, and I think that would be relevant, but, I mean, we do have the aquifer overlay in the zoning board.
Yeah, but they
tells
never
you
go
what
back
you
to
couldn't.
zoning when a tenant changes.
Well, that's the thing,
point.
that's the question. I don't know the answer. I don't think
That's why we should,
I don't know that the developer knows. I think we could write and say we have concerns about, because it's located, what type of businesses would be going into this warehouse.
how big
What
is this warehouse anyway?
It should be a covenant, Bill.
Yeah, well,
Covenant
however
that-
we,
That the landlord
How many
will
feet?
notify the Board of Health,
Yeah.
the Sewer Water
18,000?
Commission.
yeah.
8,000?
When there's a change of tenant or a tenant, that they comply with the standards.
Well, that's what I would suggest that we write to the planning board, that, that we don't have the answer to those, but that is our concern of what will go in there.
And that should be in the comments.
Yeah, that should be our comments. I mean, so I'll make a motion that we send a note to the planning board that since this development is within an aquifer area, we're concerned with what businesses are going to occupy this building, and the effects, potential effects on our groundwater. If anyone wants to add or subtract something to that,
Okay. Our concern is that, again, we're looking to protect the aquifer
Right.
from harm.
Okay, there's a motion.
The motion is to send that comment
right,
to the
Planning.
planning board.
planning board, yeah. So it's my motion, if anyone wanted to second it, or,
I'll second it, by the way.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 4-0-0. Okay, now we have, let's see here.
Next one is on the 40B on Darren Lane, or the Darren Estates,
Yep.
Darren Commons. I would just, I did send
Hold on.
something to the
Hold on.
plan, to the zoning board, under my own name, not as a member of the commission. And I had concerns about, they were mentioning using the gravel road, that would not be allowed by the DEP, and it's based on, I'm saying it that they wouldn't, based on our experience when we wanted to eliminate the Eleanor Road pump station and the Morningside pump station, and would bring it down to, out to Washington Street, and we told them, we'll put it in concrete, do whatever you want, and they said, no, you got a way already of addressing the sewerage on those two streets, and you can't do it. My other concern is the amount of fill, concerned of what would be in there, and my thought is, good clean fill or whatever, I said is not sufficient, that being so close to the aquifer, and the fact that, like PFAS, we're talking parts per
Okay, Bill,
trillion.
we haven't really opened the discussion yet. Pardeep is going to take over on the item 3 under comments. It's a request from the planning board, excuse me, it's a request from Lauren Mikowski of the zoning board for comments, again, on the same items you commented on previously. 2 reports, one from the Tetra Tech and one from some law firm. So we're going to let Pradeep coordinate that, item 3. And I'm going to step out of the room.
Do you want to discuss the letter or you want to?
I'm just mentioning that I had sent something to the zoning board of appeals, just based on my having attended the ZBA meeting, I believe it was on January 3rd, where I learned that there was going to be 4,600 cubic feet of fill being brought onto the site. My concern was that they were mentioning, oh, we'll know where that fill come from. My concern is, given how close it is to the aquifer, I wanted it to be tested. They're talking about 260 truckloads, which means 520 trips back and forth. Well, it would be nice, rather than bringing it down Darren Lane, which I agree, that's a lot of trucks and it's not really that, but if their suggestion is to come in through the Zone 1 to bring the fill in, I was concerned that, and then to deposit it on a parcel that's within 400, 500, 600 feet of an active well, that, knowing where you got the fill, in my opinion, is not sufficient, and even saying it's a good, clean fill is not, I'd want them to test those loads, given the fact that, as I mentioned, the PFAS now, it's parts per trillions, and it's everywhere. And, if they're bringing that sort of thing in, it's bound to end up in our aquifer. So what I said in my memo was that if you're agreeing to do this, that I want things tested, and no, I understand you don't want to bring, you'd prefer not to bring those loads in through Darwin Lane, but that no, you can't. DEP won't allow you to go, and even if you look at our regulations, it's either very limited recreation, hiking, bike, and hunting are the only things that are allowed, other than maintenance of existing wells, or if you were constructing a new one, obviously you could bring trucks in. So I'm just saying, letting the board know that's what I did as a person, not as a board member.
I think that's good suggestion, but where is that mentioned in the plan, in their plan, or?
It was mentioned on the zoning board is, I just watch whenever I think there's something that might be relevant to us. So I was watching it and, you know, making some notes. Then I watched the recording just to make sure I understood. And then I went and said, okay, how do I make my own position known? Because I had done it at the Summer Street, the 55 Summer Street thing. I presented things, and you know, they'll let you, if they think it's relevant, they let me speak on the Summer Street.
I think it would have been a courtesy to the commission, though, if you had told us about this.
It was after our last meeting and prior to.
We
But
have-
I
We have
specifically-
email.
I know, but I specifically put it as my opinion.
Yes, I
And
know.
the commission, if they
And-
wish
and
to
and
write
that's-
something similar, they can.
And that's fine, that's your opinion, but I think it would be nice if you informed your brother commissioners that you were doing this.
No, I don't think that's necessary. If certainly it would, I
Okay,
would never come out and
fine.
say
Okay.
that as a sewer and water commissioner, this is our opinion when we hadn't taken a position.
You have the right to do what you did.
And I did.
I'm saying it would have been nice if you had informed us of what you did.
I'll take
That's
that
all I'm
note.
saying.
I'll take that for any future that I do.
So the question I have is that where is that mentioned in any plans that they'll be bringing like 200 or 300 trucks for
I didn't-
Enfield?
Yeah, I didn't see the quantity of trucks.
Yeah,
This was
that's why my
mentioned
question
at
came.
and it was the Tetra Tech gentleman who was speaking who mentioned the 4,600 cubic yards of fill, and also he was suggesting, well, and his concern was Darren Lane, you know, there's cars on the side, and you're going to run 500, 260, or actually 500 trips going back and forth on that road. Wouldn't it be nice to use that? And no one batted an eye. And I said, no, I have to respond. And I did it based on, you know, as myself rather than as a member of the commission. So,
My concern, and I did bring it up at the last meeting, was that, you know, like the weather we're having now, I mean, I've put down probably 25 pounds of salt on my driveway. When I asked that question, I brought it up, they said they'd deal with it, but I never got the answer of how that would be dealt with.
I thought you mentioned something about lower salt volume or something. I remember.
Well, I said there's other
Yeah.
things, but that was me saying those things.
But
They
I think
never.
you were here at the commission, because I heard you mention that when I believe when I was watching the meeting when Mr. Petrosi was here, our last meeting.
Salt is hard to get,
Yes, it is hard to get out. Easy to get in, hard to get out.
and so that was my one thing that stuck in my mind. But the interesting point you bring up about the truckloads. I know when we built the reservoir up in Old Post Road, every truckload of the concrete had to be checked for the specifications.
Yeah.
So I guess things can change as you're trucking things around.
Well,
So-
anyways, I just wanted to let the board know that that was raised, and I didn't do it on behalf of the commission. I didn't have, a commission vote on that. But
So with that information, do we want to make a motion to ask for the plan of landfills and,
It's a, what's it say here?
the discussion on the Darwin Commons, what do we?
I believe this is the response where the applicant is saying, yeah.
Is this,
This is the applicants making their statement to the zoning board, basically addressing all the issues that have been raised at the meetings.
oh, yeah, I
Because I
look
think
at,
they're getting close to making a decision, closing the hearing.
I look at this as additional information.
Well,
We have,
well, we also have Tetra Tech's
well,
information in there. I want to see, once I'd heard about the volumes, I
there's,
want to make sure that, was it something
So the
was it
snow-
also read here?
Yeah, so the snow storage area is unresolved. There's no plan to,
Tetra,
provide.
yeah.
Well, I have seen a map where the snow storage, and I don't know whether they had moved it, because I'm never sure whether we're seeing the latest, was right adjacent to the 400-foot Area 1. So basically, Darwin Lane comes in, and then it tees off and goes perpendicular. Well, if you went towards the DPW, it was over there. And also, where one of the circles are is where the construction staging area is. And again, it's like, 500, probably 500 feet from the well. And I just remember when we had to replace Washington 4, going out there, the rigs was sitting on plastic, to capture any drips or whatever. Of course, there, you're within feet of the well, but,
Well, the Tetra Tech is the peer review letter.
right, that's,
And I view that as just informational.
well, the zoning board always hires, I shouldn't say always, but almost all the time, hires Tetra Tech to do a peer review of the information the applicant provides. See that all the time. And so they will bring up, and then the applicant, which is the first part here, is responding to Tetra Tech's analysis.
And the other part is the attorney's letter.
Right, there is,
Okay.
yeah, the first thing that represents Wall Street development. Tetra Tech is the other. There is another guy that the neighbors on Darwin Lane that have hired who, speaks, and actually very eloquently. I don't know how much they're paying him, but he
We have that
does a good
information
job.
also.
Yeah, so. I don't have anything to add.
Do we have anyone from public to talk about this project?
Who's up first? I'll talk. Mr. Abbott, how are you? You always have lots of information to add to these discussions.
Well, I tried.
Well, I wish it was accurate. A couple of questions, a couple
Can you
of answers.
please introduce
Oh,
yourself?
Lou Petrosi for Wall Street Development Corp. We're the applicants for the Darwin Commons comprehensive permit. A couple of things that I'd like to address. One is regarding the salt applications. So we understand the concern. We requested from the DPW director last week what the town was doing in the Darwin Lane, Victoria Court in Zone 2 of this area, and we have not received a reply. My presumption would be that we would comply with whatever the town is doing and probably go a few steps more stringent than what the town is doing in our project, because I highly doubt that the town is adhering to a strict salt and sand application for that area. Second thing is, for this project, another concern that the commission will have is the application of fertilizers and other lawn maintenance type of applications. I'm not sure what the rest of the people are doing in the rest of the subdivisions or the homes that are adjacent to this area, but I'm not aware of any rules or regulations or conditions that were placed on those homeowners to adhere to a stricter lawn fertilizer maintenance type program. But we intend to have a professional landscape maintenance organization that will be qualified to apply the appropriate lawn pesticides, fertilizers, and so on in the area in the proper amount, so that there is not any adverse impacts to the groundwater. I would like to point out in the Tetra Tech letter, you seem to have brought it up, that the first criteria for our ability to build in this location adjacent to Zone 1 is to implement or install a stormwater management system that provides for infiltration of all stormwater into the ground. And that's the first criteria that's required by the Massachusetts Water Program and the town's own bylaw. So if you turn to page, well, he doesn't have a page number on this, but if you turn to the stormwater portion of the Tetra Tech report, you will notice that Tetra Tech has made some comments regarding, if you remember correctly, at the last time I was here, the Tetra Tech had not had an opportunity to review the stormwater report and the system that we had designed for the project. So in the stormwater report, section number 53, 54, 55, and 56, and 56, they all deal with the stormwater system that we've designed for the project. And these comments the design happens to deal with the infiltration trenches that have been designed for the capacity that we project as the surface runoff from the proposed development. And rather than, I'm not going to read every one of their comments, but I'll just read the January 9th comment, which follows their review of our stormwater report, which says, on number 53, concern addressed in stormwater report, comment resolved. 54, concern addressed in stormwater report, comment resolved. And 55, concern addressed in stormwater report, comment resolved. And in 56, comment resolved. So essentially what that review implies is that we've designed a subsurface infiltration and recharge system that is compliant with the regulations, stormwater management regulation, the town bylaw, stormwater bylaw, and Mass DEP's stormwater policy. So the commission should be comforted by the fact that what we've designed is more than ample or in compliance with the regulations. So once that's the first step of the process. The second step of the process would be to refer back to your town bylaw in section 12, the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. And in that bylaw, the bylaw specifically lists out the criteria that makes you eligible to develop a project in this, and be eligible for a special permit in this location. So I read these off at the last meeting. I don't know if you want to go, but if you, in section C, on page 86 of your of the bylaw, it lists each of the following uses shall require a special permit from the planning board as the special permit granting authority, except that the Board of Appeals shall be the permit granting authority if the special permit would expand, change, or otherwise modify a lawfully existing, previously permitted use within the existing building. Well, we're not a previously permitted existing use or building. So we fall under the purview of the special permit that would typically be issued by the planning board. And in that section C, it lists the requirements in section C and in section 4A, what is required of us as developers for a project of this nature. And all of these applications have to do with providing information to the board. A complete list of all chemicals, pesticides, fuels, and other potentially toxic or hazardous materials to be used or stored on the premises in amounts greater than normal household quantities. A description and measures proposed to protect all storage containers, facilities from vandalism, corrosion, and leakage, and to provide for control of spills. A description of potentially toxic or hazardous waste to be generated, indicating storage and disposal methods. A plan showing the storage location where storage is indoors, approximate floor elevations of any storage facilities or toxic or hazardous materials, fertilizers, and waste. Where applicable, typical schematic profile of any storage facility or structure designed to contain potential spills. And keeping in mind, all of these provisions are mainly geared towards commercial type projects, not residential. Number 8 is evidence of approval of Mass DEP of any industrial waste treatment or disposal system. So we're not proposing that. We're serviced by municipal water and sewer. Any for underground storage or toxic of hazardous materials, evidence of qualified professional supervision of system design and installation. Again, we're not proposing, we will not have any underground storage of toxic materials. All necessary engineering reports that demonstrate compliance with the Massachusetts Stormwater Policy as amended, which I just mentioned to you as part of Tetra Tech's report with that we are in compliance with that. And number 11 is where we talk about, as Mr. Abbott has mentioned, that there is likely to be some trucking of material into the site. It's been estimated by our engineer about 4,600 cubic yards of material. Tetra Tech has suggested that we use the fire roads that have been along the high tension wires on the adjacent parcel rather than coming down Darwin Lane. That is not our decision. That is the board's decision, zoning board's decision. And the last component of this...
Where is that mentioned, the statement you made that they should be using the...
Where did they make that recommendation?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll point it out in a second. I just want to finish
It
up.
was also verbally mentioned.
Excuse me?
It was also verbally mentioned by the...
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea, but again, it's just a question of trying to make it less impact on the neighbors who live on Darwin Lane for that period of time while the project's under construction, or some other limited time frame that could be, maybe it's one way in and one way out, or both ways in and out. And the last part of this, which is required an analysis of a technically qualified expert, such as registered professional engineer certifying that the integrity of the underlying groundwater resources will not be degraded. So that report is forthcoming. You'll have that probably for your next meeting if you decide to want to wait until that next meeting. But again, the criteria under your bylaw is simply to protect from any hazardous or toxic materials being on the site, either during construction or post-construction. Post-construction, it's a residential development. It's not likely that anybody's going to have an oil drum or an oil underground storage tank or anything like that in their garage or on the premises. So these items are mostly geared towards industrial or commercial applications. So I think as we get further and further into this, you'll note that we are, going to be in compliance with the stormwater management regulations, and the system is designed to meet the regulations that is laid out by all the state agencies. And we intend to provide whatever information is necessary to comply with your bylaw. So I'm fairly certain that if my particular concern is the salt and the fertilizer and the maintenance post-development. And if we can get a little bit more information from the town of what they may be doing in this area, that might help us design our own little protocol for our development, and that sort of thing. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm looking for that comment where they indicate that it might be used to use the access roads from the adjacent.
Yeah, we'll need that information.
Yeah, I'll look for it now, and then I'll be able to point it out to you, so, thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? No?
David Plasich, 31 Darwin Lane. I'm a direct butter. I believe Mr. Mattson had said at the last meeting after Mr. Petrosi, and I believe
Could you hold the mic up, please? They won't be able to hear you at
Sure.
home.
I believe after the last meeting, Mr. Mattson had recommended that you hear from the peer reviewer regarding stormwater management and whether or not their system complies. And while I appreciate Mr. Petrosi here talking about it, I'm not quite sure if his side is the correct side. So again, I would recommend you speak with the peer reviewer to figure out if it's actually complies. Tetra Tech is a peer reviewer.
Yeah, he's a peer reviewer.
Having said that, you folks have no permitting authority over this project at all? I'm trying to figure out,
Yeah, we don't have permitting, but.
That's correct.
The water wells are within
yep,
that area, so we're trying to make sure that the water wells are not impacted by the construction work. So that's the only.
Right. Right. All the same testimony happens at the ZBA. They are the permitting authority and they have the approval. They're the ones who vote. So, these presentations, should be happening at the ZBA versus several meetings here, which is a little bit of an anomaly for a 40B, if I recall correctly. Been following 40Bs in this town for several years. I don't remember many times an applicant being here. I don't know, this is the fourth or fifth time down here?
So most of the time what happens, the 40B projects are huge and their impact on the water and the sewer system is large. So we have seen a few big projects coming here and doing the presentation.
But not frequently. You haven't had,
If it is a
you haven't
small,
had an applicant in here
yeah,
4
if it is a
consecutive
small-
times,
Yeah, if it is.
which is a little odd.
Yeah, if it is a small project, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
If it is a big project and, it matters.
yep,
And if I could add, normally on these sort of projects, ours would be as the looping of the water system,
Sure.
as things like that. And generally, we make our comments and, they are accepted. This one is attracting a lot more interest on
As it
our
should,
end
as it should.
Because, it's so close to our well.
Of course.
And that's really been our focus, is addressing those concerns. Whereas other 40Bs, which Mr. Petrosi has others, our comments have generally just been, we'd like you to connect out this way or that way, or, those sort of things.
Sure. That's it. Thank you. Like I said, I'd recommend you just talk to the peer reviewer.
Yep.
they're kind of the authority, if you will, on this. And
Yeah.
as I've said before, we can make our consultant hydrologist, Scott Worsley, available to you, obviously free of charge to the town. We'll take care of it, so let us know. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Moriarty. I'm also a direct abutter on the other side of Darwin Lane, 28 Darwin Lane. We actually hired a water expert who actually teaches at Harvard on this stuff. Were you made available his presentation?
What's the name?
Mr. Horsley.
I think we got last time, isn't it? No?
You did receive it. I sent it.
Okay. Well, I'm interested.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Please review.
Yeah, we would request that you really look at that as well.
That's the reason we waited for the Tetra Tech
Right.
response.
Right.
after that, yeah.
Well, the Tetra Tech response is just recent, but he, if you saw the last meeting, as Mr. Abbott talks about, I mean, he was still very, very concerned about the size of this project, and he was asked a couple of times. One of the questions was, has he ever seen a project of this size built so close to wells? To the water source for our town, for the whole town. And he said, his response was no. He's never seen it. So, and I thank you, Mr. Abbott, for your letter to the ZBA as well. And I know you're at one of the other meetings with, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care what we do here. The water is going to be, it's bound to be affected. It's so close. So, thank you for listening.
Yeah. No? Yeah.
No, I'm set.
All set. So do you want to get comments about the grading plan or something like the trucks and the grading plan?
Like I say, I've already presented under my own name, and I've told the
From the
board
board.
about it, but I don't know that there's anything else I would have to add.
I'll suggest that the board request the information.
I can send a copy of what the letter to the board, and so if you want to see the exact wording of what I wrote.
So you want to make a motion about it?
I've already expressed my opinion. I don't know if others wish to say it, it's not going to be anything different than what and I'd be happy to provide a copy, be available on our next meeting.
Yeah, I think we need the grading and the whole the truck plans, which was discussed in zone board meeting, a written explanation about how much, which material will be filled, and what materials, how many trucks are needed, because the discussion needs to happen here. Anything else? No?
I'm set.
So we'll close it. Thank you. We wait for John to come and join us. The next topic is correspondence from cleaning and redevelopment of gravel peg.
I didn't see, where's your revenue numbers?
Mr. Cummings.
Did you give them to us?
What did you? Yeah,
I didn't
it's,
have any-
correspondence number 3. The issue with that, Pat, is Steve provides me the production numbers almost the first day of the month.
Yeah.
The revenue numbers, sometimes I get them 5 days, sometimes I get them, and it takes a while for them to do it. And if it comes, and they've told me I'll get it by the 10th day. We met on the 8th. It hadn't arrived. As soon as I get it, and as Terry's aware, and Scott in the past, I send them as soon as I get them. So that we have them. And so there are going to be times where the production numbers are there, but if our meeting's early enough, like this month, it's sort of maybe that it will
So it's
have
not in our package?
the revenue is in the package.
Under correspondence 3?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I think it's missing out of my package.
No, and that brings us to the halfway point of the year.
I get
That's the
3A.
December ones.
Okay, that's correspondence, comment. Okay, no, I don't have this.
We have one, I got only one.
You got an extra?
No, I just,
Oh, that's it.
okay, good.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. I have that.
Okay,
Why don't we pick up the correspondence 1?
So we missed
Gravel
one.
pack wells?
okay. Correspondence 1, the gravel pack well. Bid recommendation. Mr. Fasenello,
What?
are you in favor of this?
This is just, this is information that's nice, but it's fait accompli.
These are the companies we've used over and over, and it's actually an interesting thing if you get a chance to go see them, what the wells, the innards look like, where they pull up the things and put them down. It's I've watched Washington 6 when they have taken the thing apart and
How,
painted it and bring it
are
back.
they in pieces, like in 10-foot
Yeah.
sections or whatever?
I do
And
have,
they're big, big pipes like that, and they will lower them and they hang on to them so they don't go. Also, you get to see the screen, but if you look at those things, you'll usually see there's a square, like patch at the top where they can open it, and then they'll have a crane that'll pull up sections and they disassemble it, and then when it comes back, they're nice and painted and if they find that the bells in the thing have corroded or whatever, they'll replace them. So if you get a chance, it's an interesting thing to see.
And they'll also do a video inspection of the well as well.
Yeah.
I do have a question. It's just a strange question, but on correspondence 1, you see it says Dennis L. Maha Division, and then their competitor is Maha Services Incorporated.
Right.
What's the story there?
There are several Mars. There's Dennis Elmar, there's Mars Services. There was a family of Mars that have split apart.
Okay, this is not the same company.
They're not at all the same
Oh,
company.
okay.
They're
I
bidding,
thought they
they're
may have
working,
done 2 separate bids,
no, they're working against each other.
hoping that,
We're in competition with each other.
whatever.
There's another MARR too that we deal with. What's another bar.
Okay.
Okay, then we have the cold water, which is an interesting one because we selected the company that had the higher bid.
But if you see the last thing, does not meet required specs. This is what I was saying. You label the specs, it has to be this criteria. If they, when they give their proposal and they only got this and this and a missing one, you can't take there because they were non-responsive.
Commissioner Abbott is just guessing right now. What is the real reason? How did they not meet the required specifications?
They didn't meet them as far as materials of
Okay,
construction.
what was specifically, what were the materials?
Stainless steel as far as the flow tube.
They did not have
They did
stainless
not
steel?
meet that,
Okay.
no.
That's one
They're-
thing. What else?
They're also a foreign manufacturer, made in Germany and Poland, I believe. They're not made in the US.
And we
Okay.
specified
There are
it had to
several-
be a US-based company?
Yeah,
I mean,
there are
those
several
the
things in specs.
Pat.
So it wasn't because of the color?
No,
No.
that's
You know,
cosmetic.
I sat on the committee when we would get the voting machines, and there was one spec was said you had to have a 9-volt battery. And I'm looking at the things, I said, they started talking, I says, they don't have a 9-volt battery. And they go, well, it's not useful. I says, you can't do it. Once you said you need a 9-volt battery in the thing,
Okay.
you have to throw it out.
In this case, it was really,
Made in USA. was-
Yeah,
they
there
were-
are several reasons.
There weren't something like color. It was
No, it
like
was
materials
legitimate.
that were inappropriate,
Right,
et
exactly.
cetera, et cetera.
Oh, but at some point, I think what Patrick's getting at, I think there's some validity to it. This happens to be a $90-some thousand difference in the two bids, which is about 33% of the whole, or more than that, of the whole Magilla. So the notion is, when, if it's a nuance that they don't comply with, when is it worth not going forward with the bid and reissuing to get the savings?
That's exactly what we had to do on the voting machines. They didn't want to go with just one, and I don't even remember whether it's the lower the things, but when they said, well, I don't know why we specified a 9-volt battery had to be in there. They said, well, you did. You can't accept their bid regardless of the price or whatever. So the option would be to reject all, and then maybe you'd say, and Poland's okay if you're, or whatever they missed, just don't put that in.
But Scott, you see that my point here, there's 90,000 difference. The people looking at this will say, what's going on here? That's why you need the transparency. That's why it needs to be discussed. They wouldn't know about the stainless steel, would they? Unless they were listening to this meeting now. But that should be part of these bids. They should be discussed and out in the public.
And I would agree with you, Pat, that we should know why they weren't a responsive bid, and as the result of reject. That's reasonable, and maybe Scott would say, absolutely has to be stainless steel. We really don't care. Maybe there's some law that says they have to be a U.S. manufacturer, but
The people elect us to watch out for their money. And, sometimes you have to pay more to get something that's a lot better. But they should know that. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's why this should be in the public domain.
But
It doesn't reflect on this decision, it's just
No, I understand. It would be
understanding
nice to
the
know
mechanics of it.
what the spec was when we put it out. That would be interesting, so we'd see, and we might question, why are we saying it has to be stainless steel? And Scott would explain why.
Devil's in the detail.
Yeah, and then at the end, if we reject, and I don't know, how often do we reject bids?
It happens.
But I mean, is it 10% of the time or 90% of the time?
That's not 90%.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't expect, because most of them, meet the specs. Otherwise, they're wasting their time. If you don't meet the very specific requirements, you're wasting your time.
Right.
Okay, we'll move along here to the next item, which is the memo regarding breakdowns FY24 revenue number. I'd like to ask Pradeep for his comments on this. Do you have any thoughts?
I think water revenues looks okay, 3.5 million out of 6 million budget. And sewer is 2.9 million out of 5.8 million budget. So half 6 months of revenue, I think we are near.
You're on track?
Yeah.
One thing I would just let people know is that the things that we will be getting in the second half of the year are your winter months, early spring months, so the revenue ought to be more at the beginning. And when you're comparing to the previous year, it was a year where we produced a lot of water, which you can see on the production where they were all black, and then we had straight. But that's just one thing you want to keep in mind, that we are going into the period where water production and, as a result, sales will be lower than the first 6 months.
Yeah, I think whenever we have both report together, we can guesstimate.
Yeah.
This time we just have revenue number, so we can't
Yeah.
guesstimate. Yeah, that's
So,
true.
and I explained why sometimes it missed, and there's really nothing I can do.
Okay, thank you. Now, old business, MWRA connection, oh my lord. We have something here, see if I can find it. I sent you an email, hopefully you got it. This was addressed to Rick Mattson. Rick, for the next meeting, we need the following. This is a follow-up to our meeting with Wesson and Sampson, Leah, our consultant. We need the following: a full explanation with maps on the screen of the Mylard Street site and associated connection points for both Walpole and Norwood, pipe sizes, any perceived difficulties, as well as the site plan for the soccer lot, the plan for the as-built, and for both the ZBA, Concom, and Planning Board. Also, any plans for water and sprinkler lines that are on the Mylard parcel. This is a follow-up to the fact that we requested to move forward on the Mylard parcel. Confirmation of the site for this use. The engineer, this is from the town administration, the engineering department must have these plans as well. We would like confirmation on the site recommendation. If you do not agree with the site and are proposing Mert Street, please include all the available plans for that property as well. At the end of this meeting, we want to send a plan with an X on it as requested by Weston and Sampson on the location for the pump shed to Leah at Weston and Sampson. Bill and I are available for a site visit if you choose to have this. Please give us the status. And Rick responded he will not be here tonight, and he's worked with different individuals as far as looking into Mert Street and Mylard Street. And he says that the, sewer commission, what the heck?
We did get another email from Rick saying.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute, hold on. I'm trying to find the Rick's email.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, okay, I'm not in attendance at Monday's meeting, but regarding the MWA connection, as per the board's direction, we investigated Mylard Street soccer field parcel and the required pump station. In researching the site, we know the Youth Soccer Association has a design for a proposed complex expansion project. Based on the level of expansion, it seems unlikely there would be adequate usable space remaining on the parcel. Construct the required pump station. As such, Weston and Sampson has been requested to once again look at the Lee Mert Street area as well as the Wilson Street Bullard area for potential connection. Both those locations would allow us to use property that's currently owned by Walpole, and it would appear that infrastructure improvements that would be necessary would be manageable. I understand the timing is concerned of some, however, I previously conveyed I don't believe this is any danger of being shut out. So, I mean, for 4 years, we were told there were 2 sites. Last April, it was narrowed to 2 sites. We got a memo from Weston and Sampson at the beginning of May that this is what was going to be done. They were going to tell us which were 2. 9 months went by and nothing happened. We had a meeting the other day where they had a last-minute meeting with Weston and Sampson, and they still didn't make it clear. And they introduced Mert Street. And at the end of that meeting, I thought it was very clear. We said, well, unless you have some reason, let's go ahead with Mylard and get this done. She says, please give me an X on the map so we can go to the next step. And we haven't done it. And now we get this thrown back against Mert Street. So I'll just to complete the, so then I get a email from Jim Johnson Friday that he would meet me to try to discuss what happened and about the Mylard Street. So I went in this afternoon and met with him briefly, and this is we were on the Mylard Street and told this was a good site for several years. In May, we thought we had Mylard Street locked down. In July, soccer comes up with a proposed plan to build more on the soccer site and possibly to limit the possibility of a pump station area. And I mean, they may have the engineering plan. There's nothing in the blocks. It's like a proposed plan that went to Mr. Gallivan's home. So I don't know, I guess he's involved with the soccer program. He's a selectman, obviously. So I don't know what's going on. But it's like a greased monkey. We can't get our arms around. I don't care whether they get the site. I just want the site so we can get the proposal going. And I'm a little perplexed. Mr. Johnson said they'd take another look. I pointed out that you have the map of the site
I
here.
have information that might be of interest.
Well, I'd like to show the commissioners if we have the map.
Go with the first one was, no, the one that I sent you first, down this expansion. This one just relates to what Pat was sent us. So if you, this shows the three, these are the towns that are, this was the south study, the Metro West, and this was the North Shore. And it's like about, and here's the number of communities, and the question that Pat mentioned, that the advisory is saying, wait a minute, you only got 50 million gallons that is available, and clearly if you do all of them, you're way over. I don't know on this, if it, yeah, down here, I noted, if you go back, that there were a lot of communities that like, you know, well, Canton's there, but like Littleton, for them to connect, they gotta go through, you know, other sites, and they may not be as interested as places like Walpole, where you can get it at the next town. I just wasn't sure if everybody knew where the communities were. These studies were done prior to us and Pat making them fully aware of our interests. So if you want to go to the next.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Because that one, Bill, I would just, not to contradict, but I would just say, on the western suburbs, you read Patrick's report.
Right.
They're colluding together. They're going to wheel through each other's community. So
Oh, yeah.
the end area is very attracted to that they have one project and they bring the line bound and 4 or 5 communities are going to hook up to it in sequence. They get the thing even drawn there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the same thing with the Weymouth. There's the economic development people of Massachusetts are huge on developing much commercial down in the Weymouth area down there off of Route 3, down in those
understand
lower
if you go
towns.
to the
And
next-
so they're very much looking to sewer and water that completely, and they want the water desperately.
Oh, I understand, and I'm just showing you, in case the board wasn't aware, these are the communities that they studied. But in terms of the Mylod Street, if we go to the other one, I can show you the new places that are just being mentioned. So this would be the locations. So these are, if we go to the, okay. This was where the Wilson street site, this is where Mert is, and this is.
Can we blow that up at all? Can you bring that larger?
I do have individual ones just focusing on
Well,
things, but this is the town line. You know, Norwood over here, Walpole. And I just so you knew from a locus standpoint, you know, this is Willett Pond. So then we could just go on to the.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So he's proposing, now you see where Mylard is there on that,
Down here.
down here? Now that's Mylard Street and that hooks up to Route 1.
No? that's not how it would
Route
look
1A,
like.
excuse me.
It would be coming here and going out that
Or
direction.
go to Washington Street, and that's even better. So the one up where it says Mert Street, the problem there is that the street that's off of is not built. Frank Street is a paper street
Yeah,
that is not going to ever be built because it's all
How it
wet,
would work.
all wetlands.
Yeah.
And at our meeting, Rick said, you're going to come up Mert to Frank Street and go up Countryside all the way up to Garden Parkway.
Yeah, if I could interrupt, I have additional things that would focus on this, focus on that, focus, and you'll see when we get down there where the expansion is.
Yeah.
So why don't we go, okay, here's just Wilson Street. This line here, this Garden Parkway, is a 12-inch line in Norwood. Bullard Street is a 12-inch. The thing that's really makes this site, and I don't know why we didn't identify this, you would just, this is about like 230, 250 feet. The problem is, this is a town-owned lot, but it's very narrow. And I would say here, if you go down
But wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
You're not showing the town lines of Norwood. That's
town line-
private property.
The town
Norwood.
line is basically right
Yeah.
here.
Well, the property to the right is Norwood property. It's not
No, but
Walpole.
This is town owned.
Yeah, but the blue line is not.
This line here is we would have to build the line. This is
Well, you're
not-
going to have to get control of the property on the Norwood side, Bill.
No, this is a street. This is
No, it's
Wilson-
not.
Yes, it is. This is
Wilson Street,
Wilson
yeah.
Street. Comes out to Bullock.
Just after the bridge.
All right, but how are you going to get to there?
Well, we have a 12-inch line here. Norwood has a 12-inch line. I don't know what's, there may be, I know that we have a stub that stops right here. If we wanted to connect at this location.
Is that more than 100 feet wide?
This, what?
No, the stub, the land we have.
No, it's up here. Now I'm hearing it on Google Maps where you can say measure. This is about 68. And it's not really, and I think if you go down here, I identify, how, but the problem is the lot is like 65, 70 feet. And if you're looking for a 20 by 30, you're gonna have to get variances, because it's in residential A. And this site hasn't been looked at by Stantec. That's another thing that we have to do, delaying the project. So if we go to the next one, actually I show where it is. You can see it's this area right here is our property. And Wilson Street, yeah, it comes out right here.
Well, it looks
Yeah,
like it
and
gets
this is-
wider at the top.
What?
It looks like it's wider at the top than
Yeah, it is.
So maybe there's
It
enough
really
land.
never gets real-
If you have 100 feet, you can fit it in.
I think I looked around here, it got to like 75. There's two things. One, being able to cite, I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's an issue. It's in residential A, you've got setbacks of 30 feet front and back, it becomes an issue. So if we go to the next one, which is the Mertz Street. Mertz here, all these are town-owned, and this is a town-owned site. This is wetlands, as you said. I would say you want to put it right here, which is not wetlands. And here's our 12-inch, goes down to Mert, then it goes down to Lee, which goes out to Countryside, and then over to Garden Parkway, which is where there's a 12-inch main. So I think if you go a little bit further,
So
plus the distance is compared to Wilson Street, which was a relatively short distance, obviously there's a lot more.
what's the distance between Mert and the
This one
Wilson?
would be about approximately 2,300 feet is what I measured that we would have to.
No, but going the other way, if you're going up Bullard.
Oh, the other one?
Yeah, from there to Wilson Street.
Wilson Street, it was basically a street like this, and it was about 240 feet.
No, but going up to Wilson. If you went up Bullard instead of up Countryside Lane.
Go up.
Go back to the other, this is Garden Park, it keeps going down, and down here is where Mert Street is. They have a 12-inch
Can
main.
you
here.
raise that up, the picture up, no, up the other way?
Up, down, up.
No, you can't. Okay. See, if you're going down from the blue line, down Bullard,
Down Bullard, yeah.
I'm wondering how far that is to Mert.
Well, we already have this line, the line's in there. The only line you would need for Wilson is to connect our 12-inch with the 12-inch in Norwood. And
All
I don't
right,
know from
all right.
Stantec produce whether the pressures and all that sort of stuff.
So you're gonna go uphill on Mert to Bullard instead of going around through Countryside Lane.
With water, you can go uphill and down, it's where your pressure is, and I don't know whether the normal pressure would go this way or that way. I don't know. That's the thing that Stantec would have to tell us,
Can we go back to Mert? Can you show the Mert Street side again?
So, but Mertz.
There, hold on.
Yeah.
Now, the problem here is that this, I just, we've been skewered for 4 years. I'm tired of being danced around. The problem, this is fine, but this, you see all the wetlands here? And there's stormwater from all these streets that go here too. I don't want to get involved in any conservation commission, stormwater management will tie you up over a year. That's the problem with this.
And I think it down here, if you look, another reason, if we go down to what I wrote, one that Stantec hasn't looked at it, so that's another thing you'd have to do. And all of this line, just whether, and I didn't even address storm, I'm saying there's roughly 2,300 feet of pipe that you would have to go. And I mean, this lot looks like it probably you could fit. And again, you would want to need the conservation, and if it turns out that there's some zoning that you need a variance, that's another issue. So I would then go to the Mylod Street.
Here, could you put my lot up?
And this, if you go, well, all right, so if you look here, these two lots are town-owned. This is the soccer field.
They
this is
filed, they submitted now a new plan for this piece.
And I think if we go up, I'll show you.
But over here, you see the wetlands here? They have a practice field here, but this is where Johnny Anderson's office was, and Rockwood has a building. There's land right back for that
So
building.
let's just go, go down back to my lot. Just keep going back. This was just a locus map. Go to the next thing. Well, here's the thing is, whether you're here, you gotta go at least, this is Ryan, whether they would make us go all the way out to Washington Street or not, but this is where you could tap into.
What's the size of the line? That's what I was
I
asking.
asked Rick about this. He said it's probably an 8-inch, and he thought that was gonna be adequate. I'm not somebody who knows that, but if you go to Ryan Street, and I wasn't sure, but I think it's at least an 8-inch, there's approximately 600 feet. And that's if you're over here, and if you do something over here, it's like about 1,500. The site has been modeled by Stantec, so we know that there's an issue there. The issue is the expansion of the soccer field means that some sort of...
No. They're not gonna expand soccer here. There's open space here, and there's a parking lot that's wide open.
Next go.
This
Get
is
it next, and
easy-
John, you'll be able to see it. This is, I just sort of
Easy
below.
for an easement, and
All right.
for,
This is their existing parking lot. And you're right, there's practice field. This is something that Lear drew that sits on the parking lot. And if you go to the next slide, or the next one, I mean, here's the thing, this is a
I
practice
say it
field.
right here. And you
Yeah.
bring an easement for a line, that's right there, or right here. This is all open, it's easy to access for development, and there's no wetlands.
So if you go to the next one, all right, this is what they're proposing. They're putting a big parking lot. This is that wet area, this is that triangle, and so this is a wetlands line, but I don't know what this is. It looks like you could put something there. I agree with John that there is maybe something over here that wouldn't interfere, but this is what they're looking for expansion. It's for parking lot. I don't know if they're saying, our existing parking lot, they're gonna do something with that,
But that could be 3 years then, developing that.
I know. I'm just telling you this, showing what it is, and I don't know why the parking lot isn't here. I don't know, is this a hole, or is this a mound, or what?
It might be a retention pond for stormwater.
Well, it could be, and that maybe that's an issue that would come.
But
maybe
this is a different site, though. This has nothing to do with the other soccer
No,
site.
this is the
No, that's not.
the soccer fields.
Yeah, it's over there. You're not talking about with the site I'm talking about. It's off it's off the page.
Over there.
So why talk about this?
Because I was listening to you folks, people seem to be interested in this triangle area.
No.
Okay, well, I'm just showing you, they do have some plans, and here it is.
But it's all wooded. It's a couple of years, 2, 3 years for development. It really doesn't suit our needs in any way.
And I happened to meet Jim Johnson while I'm out walking. He's in the same area occasionally. He sees me walking. I think he said that this was gonna cost them like 600-something thousand to chop down the trees and do whatever. And his thought was that they might be interested in, maybe making something smaller so to accommodate us. Of course, they would want us to participate, whether we'd be interested or not. But anyways, I don't know if people were interested, but I could at least show you where the other sites were. And I wasn't aware about the one, that was up here as to what the situation there is. So if it was of interest, fine. If there wasn't, sorry to waste your time.
Yeah, Steve, could you go back to the Google Earth picture of that Mylar? Yeah, right there, yeah. Now, this is what I want to find out, Scott. Somebody, Rick's out of town, I mean, I don't know who we get there, we have to have somebody react to us. We take votes and nothing happens. We voted to do Mylar Street and nothing happened. We asked for materials, they aren't here. I do not understand. This is a private property here. This is all town land here. A building can go here or here and connect to Mylar Street here or here with an easement. End of story. This is open, it's accessible for development, it's accessible for creating the easement. I don't understand why the building is a fraction the size of this room. We're talking about 20 by 30 feet,
So can we,
or less.
can we ask
It's like-
about that site
It could go
specific,
anywhere.
John?
It could go anywhere here. And it's just a small building and a pipe. I don't understand why this is taking, I know the town engineer, if you told him to do this, he'd lay it out in a half an hour. I don't understand why we're spending years trying to find, this is not rocket science, this is just common sense.
So I think that what we should do is identify, is there a problem with that site? And if there isn't a issue, then let's pick that site.
2 weeks ago, we gave them a deadline. We want this site, if there's any problem, let us know in a couple of days. That was the mission we gave to the town of Walpole.
And we got Wilson Street and the others, and I said, all right, I'll produce some information, and John, if I'm wasting everybody's time, I apologize.
No one's saying you wasted time, Bill. And if Mert Street could be,
And I-
you know how it goes. You've been around and so is Patrick. Pradeep probably knows at this point too. I mean, when you pick a site that goes to conservation, in stormwater, it's all kinds of studies, all kinds of time. And there is no need, Norma's gonna get tired of us fiddling diddling on top of it.
Well, I know that the Lear is concerned about that if we go back and say, well, could you tell us what the situation in Wilson, they're gonna say, why are we dealing with you guys? You can't, make up your mind. This site, the Mylar site, to me, since it's already been tested, modeled by Sandtech, that there'd have to be a real good reason for me to say that either the Wilson Street or the Mert Street would be, something we'd want to consider.
In your portfolio there, Steve, what I had specifically asked for at the last meeting was the site plan for this old soccer field. Do we have that site plan in your,
This is a new soccer field, not the old one.
yeah, that's a new one, but don't we have one for the old one there as well? Yeah, is that the old one?
This is what we have now. This is the dirt driveway right here.
Right here is the dirt driveway. This looks,
That's the land he's talking about right there.
yeah, what is that? Is that indicating, because I'm looking at these are wet.
Wetland, yeah.
Yeah, now,
Is this wet?
if you look at the other wetland map, it shows it way up. Sometimes they just
Yeah.
put that there without measuring it, without delineating it.
Well, that would be.
But go over further, because if you go over further to the, you don't have it. to the-
No, I just took.
See, because there's more land, we own more land to the right, Bill.
Well,
Behind John Anderson's is parallel to that little practice field there.
Yeah.
And there's more land behind that we own.
Well, that's what
Yeah, see in the back, see the wetland there?
yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying
Yeah,
right-
right there. These are
That's
acre
huge,
house
yeah.
lots.
No, I
All we
understand.
want is a little square somewhere here.
So I think we should, because this looks like it's the parking lot and there's a practice field. I would agree to find out, is there a reason that can't be used? So I agree with you, John. We have to, and talking to Leah, she says, you just tell me where you want it, and then they'll design it. Now, what I also said is, the Water Resource Commission, that deals with interbasin transfer. I said, I don't think they care whether we have a pump station here or there. The issue is taking water from one basin and moving into another. Why aren't we starting that? And she said, well, maybe we could start, because I'm always looking, is there something you could be doing two things at once rather than you got your chart there, okay, we're going to do the first one, it's done, we'll start the second.
Well, somebody should be able to tell us, the only other issue I can see is the difference between an 8-inch pipe and a 12-inch pipe, Steve. Is that going to be a problem?
When I asked Rick about that, he said no.
Because
I go,
if the
okay,
8-inch
I
pipe's
don't-
going to be inadequate, we have to run a 12-inch pipe in Norwood and Mylard Street all the way to Washington, that's another economic expense versus Garden Parkway that has the 12-inch main. So the question is, you're running up 1,800 feet to get to Garden Parkway, or you're running up how many feet on Mylard Street over here?
Scott, I don't know. I certainly know if you get a 12-inch to a 12-inch, it would seem that there's not a problem. Do you think that feeding us 1 million gallons a day through an 8-inch onto Bullard, where it's a 12-inch, is that an issue based on, I know you haven't done the calculations, but would that something you go, no, you don't want to do that, or no,
Well,
you'd be able
you know,
to, then you have to investigate to see
We
what it-
connect different size pipes all the time.
Right.
Well, you're saying is the 8-inch appropriate for us to take the water from Norwood?
1.5 MGD.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rick says, yes, he has a lot of experience.
Yeah, and that's what-
I think that would be very easy to find out.
You're talking
Okay.
about 750 gallons a minute through the pipe.
Can you go, can an 8-inch main?
Yes.
All right, so the fact that there's an 8-inch on,
Mylard.
in Mylard, all right, so we've got their answer. I guess the only thing is there any reason of the site that you've picked, before you get to the wetlands beyond, and I think, what is that where Johnny Anderson's is, that little,
The white square in front,
right here?
if you drive up there, you'll see there's a barn, it's rock.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, I'm just trying to, is that his? But anyways, the part.
Right at the back of their parking lot, I've looked, I see no wetlands. You stand right here, you see no wetlands right here.
I would agree. So, can we find, is there a reason why we can't put it there? I guess that's the answer that we need to know. And if there's no reason, and the commission says, yeah, go, we should tell Weston Sampson, here's the X on the map. And that would be the end of it.
But town administration was supposed to answer that for us.
Yeah, you know what,
And that's and now we're standing around trying to second guess ourselves and everything. Town administration, you asked him, and we got no response that was effective for us. We need to find out, and now we've lost another 2 weeks, and things are happening while we're lollygagging around here.
what we want to do is get some, if we have to fire Weston Sampson, hire our own consultant and work with them directly, we'll have to do that. But we have to get this thing moving. It's been stonewalled for years, and the last 10 months have been just wasted time. And we have, according to Patrick, who's on the board, we have threats of taking all that capacity. And the town of Walpole, I don't care about administration, about egos, about anything. I care about the town getting that opportunity and putting it on the table at town meeting. That's our job. And then they can do what they want with it. But I want to get that on before it's a lost up.
So,
We're making
John,
a,
do you
they
wanna
call it
make a
decision
motion?
by default, which means you wait so long and you screw around, so by the time you get there, the decision's made for you because it already passed.
So, John, are you comfortable of saying, we want that site, and unless somebody in the next 2 weeks can tell us that, no, you can't, here's the reasons you can't, that's the site that the commission wants? And
That's
if
the same thing we voted last meeting. Yeah, exactly.
Although when I listened, I thought that there was talk about the triangle
We
area
voted for the, behind the driveway. End of the
behind
driveway.
that particular
End of the
lot.
driveway. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Let's put it to the town then. Let's
well, then
make
that's the site we want, and all I would say is,
a motion.
John's gonna make the motion.
Well,
Behind the lot number, what is the lot number?
That's a house number.
Yeah, what's the house number? 281. Yeah.
Yes, 281
yeah.
Mylan Street.
Assuming, again, I'm assuming the town has an as-built plan for the soccer fields that are currently in existence on Mylard Street. And that as-built will show where the wetlands are. And according to this diagram here, they are not right up against the Anderson property. And that being said, there's clearly seems to be land available for a small building or pump station at that location that could be easily connected to Mylard Street. So we'd prefer that site to get this moving unless there's a reason that Mylard, an 8-inch line in Mylard is not satisfactory to Norwood for the connection. I mean, that's what we want to do. I thought we made that clear last meeting. And what happens is, another thing, I
Is
just have
that
to...
your motion, John? What you
Yeah.
just said?
Yeah, we-
Okay.
So we want that confirmed for the next meeting by the town engineer.
Let me second your motion first.
Okay,
Okay, I second his motion.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Okay, 400.
All right, now,
And now the other thing is, and I don't know why, but it seems like the town likes to take individuals aside and tell them deal on these decisions with Jeff or with B or Bill or somebody. I got called to a meeting, and I don't like the fact that they try to make, like, I don't know what, they like to cover the issues privately with one commissioner, as opposed to coming in here and having everybody hear the same thing at the same time. And that isn't helpful on this issue. And I appreciate all the work you did here, Bill, and I called you and asked you to look into this stuff and to try to do a site visit. And I appreciate that they obviously gave you a number of plans that we had asked for. They gave them to you, they didn't give them to us, but that's how we got them anyway. But, you
Now,
know,
when I spoke to Rick and to gather a lot of this information, I said, looks to me, and I thought we were going to be on that triangle, maybe just listening, and as Pat has indicated, sometimes you can't hear it, looking at the recorded, but that I said, it looks like I would want to make sure that there isn't a zoning issue, there isn't the conservation, get all those things to say in one room. And he said, yeah, you're probably going to need all those folks. And I was going to say, well, John, you organize. He said, it would be better because most of them either work directly with Jim, we want all the parties that potentially could have anything to say on this, to, in one room, say, we want to go here, tell us, do I need a variance? Do I need a special permit? Is there a wetland, something or other that you can't, get all those things so we can say, everybody's had a chance, we want to go here, and nobody says boo, then we tell Wesson and Sampson, it's right here, do your design, and we can then, move on.
that's fine. And I don't, all I can say is on the Mert Street side, maybe they can prove something over there. If they can stay out of the 100-foot buffer and stay away from the stormwater, and they want to do that for some reason, I don't care. But I don't want to go unnecessarily going back to different town boards and committees and getting groundhog
What
day.
you don't want to do then, John, would be to call Norwood and tell them, oh, we'll come up with another Mert Street. And I don't think that's, to me, this looks better than Mert Street. It looks better than Wilson, although Wilson, it's a short street, except for the fact you get a lot of land. It's like a half acre, but it's like this narrow. So I think this is the place to go. And we should ask that, I would say we should ask the town administrator, get the parties that potentially could have anything, zoning, conservation, I don't know who else, I can't imagine the planning board would have anything to say, but to get party representatives from all those groups who could say, yeah, that's not a problem, or yeah, you need a this, all right, then we know, maybe the conservation says you're going to have to get whatever they come up with. So at least we know what has to be done and move on.
In my opinion, is that 20 by 30, building is very small compared to the size of soccer field. It can be placed anywhere, even with the
I
new.
would agree.
Yeah,
And it
so,
looks like there's everything I saw with the expansion of the soccer fields was the parking.
It
I
is
saw
on the
nothing
side,
on a
yeah.
diagram that
Yeah.
was on the other side. And if there is wetlands, as clearly it seems there, I don't think they are going to, put anything over there. It would be too small.
Yeah.
Are they planning on abandoning the dirt road?
I think it will be still there. They're just adding extra.
Is there a driveway going back
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, but
But as we know that, if it is a other side of the triangle is a wooded and all little bit of wetland, it'll take at least 2-3 years to.
oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And if I misunderstood listening to the meeting, I
No,
was getting the
we-
indication it was the triangle area that we were now interested in.
No.
And I like this, John, what you're suggesting, at least on the surface. Stan Tech has already looked and it seems it's okay in that respect. It's all parked, what's that, PSR, whatever the zoning of which municipal is allowed, so you don't have to worry about that. Potentially, you have to worry about being close to the wetlands where 100-foot is and whatever.
Yeah, we have to check the metrics on the PSRO too. Maybe the setbacks are more
Yeah, I was looking.
forgiving.
Yeah. But anyways,
So,
those are the things that I think they should, and that's why I'm suggesting, when it's really what Rick suggested when that it would be better.
See, we're at a different speed thing than they are. This is what drives me crazy. Because I know on the recreation, everybody was great going. Anybody at town hall that works for the town knows this stuff. They know exactly everything about that. And I don't know why we have to dig it out. It seems like we're just clawing, trying to get our foot in the ground. And it's frustrating. I want to move forward. If people are going to keep dragging I'm not going to tolerate it. Next meeting, I'll propose we fire Weston and Sampson, we get our own consultant, and they report directly to us. And we just do it that way. I mean, because people will move faster than this. I mean, it's just, it's taken too long, and I don't care. These people, the town employees, they're wonderful, great people. But when they retire and go to Cape Cod, whatever, that's not going to help the people of Walpole. They're going to be stuck here with the wells that we have and the water situation and the PFAS. They ain't going to help us at all, that they thought that we didn't have to worry about anything. Because we do have to worry about something, because the board of directors is telling us they're filling up all their customers. They're getting everything lined up. So we have to get this thing moving, period.
And that's the problem. The other towns seem, at least from what I can understand, they seem to be moving along much smoother than we are.
And
They're having joint meetings.
I did get the impression on that there were other towns that were not stumbling, locating a spot, which we, at least to the outside, is saying that we're not able to identify.
Okay, well, I guess we'll leave that one.
Well, so what's the action plan, John? Are you going to get these parties together and say we want a definitive answer on this
Well,
site?
you want to have me send an email to Jim Johnson saying that we want to have a meeting with any parties that have anything to do with this location to tell us green light, red light, and why?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I don't see that, is there anybody else see that this doesn't, if we get those answers that, conservation says you don't need, that's a problem, or no problem. Zoning says you don't have to worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And then we could just tell Weston Simpson, right there, that's it.
The Western Sampson came with the plan where they indicated in the front of the.
Yeah, it was right on top of the
Top.
existing parking lot.
Yeah.
And
If
I,
anyone sees that soccer people, they will not agree about it. But what
Right.
we suggested was that behind that
Yeah.
driveway, so that would be easier for anyone to build. And I see in the satellite image, there's empty land even at the end of the driveway.
yeah,
Yeah, leave that up, Steve.
Yeah,
What,
you don't even need to cut a tree to put the end of the driveway.
I don't know, do I have anything beyond that that would show?
End of the driveway is showing up, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trailer.
Well,
Yeah, see
what
the
you're looking
trailer
at
right
is
there.
right here.
No, look at the trailer on end of the
See
driveway.
the
This is
tra-
behind.
No, come behind the, yeah, that.
behind the parking lot, see
Yeah.
that? Now, that's obviously upland too.
Yeah. but-
This building doesn't even have to be 20 by 30. It could be the size of that little square that's there.
I did ask
Storage
Leo
shed.
about that, and, because it seemed to me, I said, we got, booster pumps that run the ground, and why? And, she had some reasons, and I don't know why she picked 20 by 30, but that's what she picked. But what we've been talking about sits here.
Right.
Anywhere on this side, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you, if it's right here, I don't
Either
know what
way, it
that
doesn't
is.
matter. It's same distance to my
But if you have it, whether it's here, up there, or over there, but this is where the issue that I understand listening, correct me if I'm wrong, is where we're looking right now, that we would like to tell Western Sampson, here.
We
here's
wanted
the-
on that parcel, Pradeep had pointed out originally, at the original meeting, back where the trailer was. He said, there's a clearing back there.
Back
That one,
here.
yeah.
Now, no one picked up on that, but that's satisfactory too.
Yeah.
Either one, that's already cleared. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. I
We don't have to go, the less it has to be done, the better. If you don't have to clear land,
And the Rick statement was that the pipe can be run on the driveway, so there was no
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, well, that's, putting the pipe, as long as it's on your land, there's no problem there.
Electrical too.
And electrical, again. So,
okay. So I'll send an email to the town administrator requesting that take place, so the next meeting there's no objections. See how that goes.
okay,
All right?
yeah.
Okay, then we have Jarvis Farm.
I was heartened. Today I happened to see the master plan. And on the master plan, just going through it very quickly, they suggest that they build a parking lot. So that was something nice, that at least the master plan has it in. To our superintendent, well, what's the status? Have they done any surveying? What's the situation over there at Jarvis Farm?
I mentioned in my status report that right now the surveyor is working on identifying the areas of conservation restriction and anything that would impact the parking lot.
Okay? Do you have anything?
Now, meter to cash, the pilot program, do you have any
It's-
status?
It's getting much closer. They're still working on it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll be checking that every meeting.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, is there anything else, Bill?
Nope.
No, good, everybody? Patrick?
Okay, fine.
Pradeep? Good? Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.